Welcome to TerryWilson3.com, home of TW3. Are you ready to take your money, business, and life to the next level? You are worth more, and you're about to hear how and why. So buckle up and listen up as we journey to the next level. Please welcome your guys to reach your goals, the TW3 family.
Here's your host, Reagan Wilson.
Hey, everybody. This is Reagan, and you are listening to the TW3 podcast. This is episode 607.
607.
You've done 607 of these.
Nobody's fired me yet.
They're looking for a way. It's just difficult considering you own it.
Well, I did pay some hush money to one of the neighbors, not to post any incriminating videos. Yeah. And I might have put that in the wrong ledger. I signed the wrong GL code, so I am worried about some accounting snafus that could happen.
The amount of NDAs that people have signed,
Yeah. And I did buy a gun, while I was
smart.
Yeah.
Make sure you announce that on the podcast too.
Well, I'm trying to loop in all the political nonsense the last few weeks. We got one that was convicted for paperwork, and then we got another one buying guns while intoxicated or something, and then
well, that's just based as hell. Everybody likes that.
And I find myself pulling for Kevin Spacey on his comeback tour.
Yikes.
Hey, have you seen him? He's like doing the media circuit right now and trying to revamp his.
Funny enough, I'll disclose to everyone. I actually asked to be on this episode because I was doing something really conceited, and I was going back through our old episodes, and I was finding like funny clips where I would say something and I'd laugh because I'd be like, "It's my humor," it's me saying it, obviously, but it's like I am really funny because that's hilarious. I'm sitting here laughing at the things I would say. But the last episode I did, which was in January, I think. We were talking about that. We were talking about Kevin Spacey.
Did we bring that up then too?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we were talking about him coming back and trying to revamp his career.
Yeah, I saw him. Let's see. He was on Lex Friedman's podcast. He was on Piers Morgan's show. I don't know if that's a podcast or a news thing.
Right.
I don't know what Piers is doing. And there was one other, And ironically, here's the thing, how this is juxtaposed between, Trump and Biden, Hunter Biden stuff. They are convicted. All of the stuff he did, he's gotten off on every one of them. There's not, he's gone to court multiple times on all these accusations and has been found innocent in London, in New York, and all these various cases.
Kevin
Spacey,
yeah.
So it's just, we live in weird times where, the old axiom that people would quote, perception is reality.
Yeah.
So he's perceived, and he might be. I mean, I'm not waving a flag for nobody, by the way.
Sure.
It's just interesting. It's an interesting observation that he's considered, a monster, and probably, maybe, I don't know.
Right.
But his career's canceled, and he's been found innocent in a court of law.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure. The crimes he's been accused of committing happened in I think early 90s, late 80s. And so I don't know if they'd find any evidence of something dating back. And even if there was, even if they could find the evidence, it's like, what's the statute of limitations on that anyway? My only gripe with him was his rebuttal or refutal to being like, I'm innocent. And granted, layman's terms here, this isn't exactly what he said, but it was basically like, hey, you did this really atrocious thing to children. And he goes, I'm gay.
Yeah.
What? That's not, no. Okay, cool.
Well, there you go. Works for me.
Yeah, sure.
Speaking of gay, so my friend, Bert, who owns a gym, speaking of gay, I want to talk about Bert for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
He lost a bet while he was in Asheville. And so because of losing this bet, he had to buy a dress in Asheville and wear it in the gym walking through so everyone could see him.
Nice. He's a runner. He has nice calves.
Oh, beautiful calves. Beautiful calves.
Yeah.
And so today I sent him this, and I want to see what your take on it is.
If you're feeling kind of saucy and ready to get naughty, Albert, the cross-dresser. He ain't no Corporal Max Klinger from old school TV singer. He's Bert, the cross-dresser. When you're ready to get down and dirty and feeling kind of dirty, Albert, the cross-dresser. Do the saucy,
Pretty good. Pretty good. What color was the dress?
Red.
Red.
And he was in high heels.
Well, of course.
He was in
Not
high
over.
heels. So, and his last name's French because he's from New Orleans, Saucier.
Right.
So I use that as do the Saucier.
That's pretty good. I forgot his last. Well, you're gonna have to bleep that out or something. You can't give his full name here on the podcast, but yeah, that's pretty good.
Oh man, that's true. I can't use it.
You're gonna have to edit that.
Man, I give all my. That's terrible. I wanted to use.
Why don't you
it.
just give your address and where you got your gun from? While you're
Yeah, I got that over at. It's in Cowpens at a trailer.
It seemed legal.
It seemed legal. The guy seemed very reasonable. No, I was I did that and a couple others for some other folks because I'm getting into writing these jingles and stuff with AI. So what I do is I use our Chat GPT bot in our app to say, hey, this is what I want to say. Make it into more of a rhyme scheme, a 4-bar rhyme scheme, put to music for lyrics. So then I get that, and then I throw it over into the music app. And
I mean, it's cool.
I think it's just, and the boom, you got a jingle.
You have a jingle. I've been using Chat GPT religiously for studying lately because this is, for those that don't know, I'd assume most do, the way Chat GPT works is you ask it any question, obviously, and it scours the internet for the info and kind of feeds it back to you. It's like a condensed Google. But what you can do that makes it really cool is the prompts that you give it. So you can tell it how you want to receive that information.
Yeah.
Obviously you know this, but so what I've been doing is like, I'll start with like a networking topic. Like I'm doing like topologies in a network right now. And then I get it explained to me as if I was a normal person, but then I'm not a normal person. I'm an idiot. So I tell it, okay, well, explain this to like I'm 8. And then it explains it like I'm an 8-year-old. I'm like, oh, okay, I've got the fundamentals now. Now explain it like I'm in preschool. And then it explains it in preschool, and I really have an understanding of the topic. So that's how I've been using it. You can scale it to your learning level,
I'm telling you, all this AI stuff, just, I'm scared, to be honest with you.
It's a little scary. I took a security for work. I had a security quiz, and one of the security questions, there's the obvious ones because they're trying to cover their ass, which is like, hey, if somebody says they're from Saudi Arabia and they're the prince or something, don't respond to their email. It's like, oh yeah, no shit. But the one they're doing now is AI, because people are using AI to, maliciously. And so it taught me some of the differences about the type of AIs that are used. And I didn't realize, and this is the part that I do think is a little scary. There's AI, that we use, and then there's generative AI. Generative is the one where it not necessarily forms its own opinions, but the way it's actually working is almost, the idea is it works like a brain. So in our brain, we have neurons that fire and we have data points that we hit. And because we thought of like, you ever smell something and then it brings you back to a song because you listened to that on the way somewhere, like that type of where we're able to interlink our thoughts and the information, it works like that. It's going, okay, they responded positively to this information. And this is, all the feedback that we received. And it's not just you, everyone. So it's like building a brain. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, there's some fear that should probably be there, right? like it seems like this is a little scary. We're building a person almost.
Well, that, and yeah, the ability to generate thought and the ability to personify someone else.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have you and for those on the audio side, I'm showing Reagan on camera. It's called, it's the Chat GPT app. Have you downloaded that? And where you can do the audio?
Yeah. And then the stutters and like the human like nature that it can communicate back.
Well, let's demo it right now and see if it works. Because I did this the other day and I about fell out on the floor. So let me just see if this works. And I don't know if it's going to work through our audio system or not. So let's just see here.
You're going to do the speech one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ask it who it thinks is going to win the finals. And if it doesn't say Boston, then we know it's broken and we have nothing to fear. And then ask it how many pounds should Luka Doncic lose so he can
It
move
sounds like
laterally
you're
quickly.
talking about the NBA Finals. I can look up the current odds and predictions if you'd like. Let me check that for you.
See, it's listening to you.
Mm.
No problem. Would you like me to find the latest predictions for you?
Yes.
Most experts are predicting the Boston Celtics to win the NBA Finals against the Dallas Mavericks. The Celtics are favored due to their depth and strong performance throughout the season, having the best record and an impressive run in the playoffs. However, some believe the Mavericks, led by Luka Doncic, could pull off an upset, especially given their strong playoff performance as underdogs.
Now that's just being PC. You know, it's gonna try to play.
Got to get both sides of the argument.
Yeah, exactly. But here's what, let's see here. Let me get back out of here if I can exit out of here. Okay, let me just boom, boom. If I can get back to the front. Now watch this. Because what I'm going to do before I hit record, I'm going to tell it who it is, who they are, in the context of our conversation.
Okay.
Now, of course, I'm a Chicago geek, Bill Champlin geek, David Foster geek. So these are people I know more about, so I feel more confident. So I was just playing around with it yesterday. But this is what I did. And then listen, because now that we know it's wired in right and it's worked, check this out. I'm having to wait. It's connecting. You are Bill Champlin of the group Chicago, and I'm interviewing you on a podcast. So when I ask you questions, answer it as if you are Bill Champlin. Well, it didn't work. It didn't connect. But I did that. It's not connecting.
Yeah,
I did that, and I had like a 5-minute conversation, and it floored me because it used its, and of course, it's combing the internet for all of this information. And obviously he's on blogs, podcasts, and other things. So it's just, but the sense of humor, the way he sarcastically answers certain questions I know that he's been asked 100 times, answered it the same way.
Spot on. That's scary.
I mean, it was just like, holy cow. And then if you're using voice modeling, you technically could sample his voice, put it in there.
Right.
And all of a sudden you're having a conversation with your favorite artist or whatever. Which then leads me to all of the propaganda that is going to be available to use in nefarious ways. Holy cow. That
is available now already.
Sure.
What's funnier is, did you ever watch that video I sent you about the breakdown between Drake and Kendrick? If you didn't, it's okay.
I haven't, not yet.
Totally fine. It's a long video. It's a stand-up routine and it's pretty good. But after all of the dust settled between that, Drake, the thing that I'm seeing now is like something will be so bad that people will be like, oh, this is AI. And so there's that White Tea song, Hey There, Delilah. Mm-hmm. If you know that song. Okay. There's one called Wagwan Delilah, I think. Anyway, it's a remake of that song, but it's Drake and he's using like lingo from Toronto. And everybody when that released was like, oh, this is AI. This is garbage. Like, this is funny, but it's stupid. It's a real song. It's a real song that he actually released into the verse. So now it's like the inverse of that where like things are just not good and people are like, well, that's just AI. No,
Well, there's this group out of England that was on the. Do you watch Rick Beato any?
Mm-mm.
He's more of a Gen Xer like your dad. He's a recording studio owner down in Atlanta, and he has recorded a who's who from hip hop, R&B, rock. He was really pivotal as an engineer back in the 90s with the alternative rock sound coming up. He's credited with Foo Fighters and a lot of those guys, and some of the artists that he's worked with, people you would know.
Yeah.
Well, now he has got this uber popular for musicians and recording geeks podcast and YouTube channel, and he interviews everyone, everyone that comes through there. And so the other day he was talking about this. There's this new rock group out of London, and they're literally using AI to create everything, and then they simply pull the vocals out, do the overdubs with with their vocals, and then sample their own vocals and use it within AI. And it's becoming AI is becoming like part of an instrument, a recording instrument that they're integrating it with them as well to create this whole new vibe. It's pretty weird, you know.
As somebody that's into tech, that sounds really cool. I can look at that objectively and go like, that's impressive.
Yeah.
As a former musician, though, that like that's where the boomer comes out, and I'm like, I hate it.
Well,
That's dumb.
I think, you know, it's gotten to a point where we are feeling a little bit threatened as human beings, because at the end of the day, I don't mind robots and electronics replacing tasks, but don't replace art, because that's what makes us human, is our art, our language, our personalities. And that's when it gets, I think we're, you know, sort of passing the Rubicon, if you will, a little bit.
I'm really curious as to what the actual regulation and laws that will come about from AI are, and if they can regulate as quickly as it can develop. Because a real concern, and I mean, it's in a lot of fields, but especially in IT, if you program, if you write C#, if you're good with Java, like, yeah, it is. There's always going to be someone there, because you need a human element to oversee to make sure the AI is doing something correctly, of course. But like the 20 people that would, you know, help you script something or help you build that app can be condensed down to like 1-2 people. And they go, what do you want? Okay, I know how to frame the framework of what we need for this app or whatever it is.
Right.
I've got AI, I'm going to have it do it. And it's not just like that task either. It's not just programming, but like security, you know, doing network checks, like even support. You use it now. And it's like, you know, do all the jobs go away that aren't blue collar? Because like AI is not going to do your plumbing.
No.
Like,
No.
It's just not.
Yeah, and it's real weird, you know, and I don't know if we've talked about this before or not, but, you know, 20 years ago when there's this huge migration of jobs, it's really 30 years now, that jobs, because of NAFTA, was leaving. Blue collar workers were screaming. Your dad was screaming. We were all screaming because plants around us were shutting down and everything was going, you know, to Mexico or to Asia or somewhere else. And the political class all said, well, you know, we're gonna become a service industry. We're not going to become a manufacturing economy anymore. So you're just going to have to adapt. And then there was laws passed to help people study and pick up new trades and all that. And that was the answer to that, you know, argument. And so I say all that to say, fast forward 30 years now, writers in Hollywood are striking, authors are striking, studios are threatening to shut down because why? The white collar jobs. I mean, I even saw where the one of the state bar associations are really lobbying for regulations, because listen, with AI, I type in, hey, I need a will and testament written out for the state of North Carolina. Now, why would I hire an attorney when I can have every I dotted and T crossed with all of these white collar type, because it uses the legal system into that state as a lexicon to be able to pull all this stuff in. Yeah. So it's just, and so I almost want to say, hey, you need to go back to school and take up a trade, plumbing, electrical. You know, this is
I mean, you know, it's
you know, because it was that class. It was that class telling the guys that were knuckle busting out there, you know, your job's going away. Suck it up. And
no, I mean, I'm the chump. Like in my friend group, you know, I've got friends that are electricians and they do blue collar work, and then I've got some friends that are like me, who are desk jobs from home, stuff like that. But I mean, we're the dumbasses. We're the ones that's, you know, our jobs are gone in like 2 years. Like, let's just be honest. You know, you got to the pivot really is learning how to do your job with AI. Yeah. Because I would imagine same with anything. They're going to teach you, they'll give you a certificate or some kind of, you know, proof that you know what you're doing with this tool. And then you implement that into your role. I think I saw a lawyer on Twitter or X now that had said, the future is it's going to be reduced as far as the amount of people doing any sort of role that's
Well,
a desk
paralegals
work.
and all of that. I can imagine you got one law firm with one attorney that's responsible.
Yeah.
And all of the other stuff, the grunt work and the paralegal stuff is going to be.
Yeah. I mean, he said you're going to go from a law office of 30, 40 people, mid-firm office to an office of 10 people, but all 10 of those people are like 20 times more productive because they use AI to do their work.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen it with our family members too that are high up in certain positions. And it's like, what's half your job now? It's like, oh, I get AI to like write half my slides. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, so far heretofore, I don't feel like I've been quote unquote replaced. It's been a net positive for me because as you guys have grown up and gone on to your own careers and things like that, there for a minute, I was like, okay, Reagan's not going to be available anymore. Gabby's not going to be available anymore. River's not. Now they're moving on, having their own careers and stuff. What's Dad going to do? And then just so happened around that time, AI.
Your sixth child.
My
AI.
sixth child, Chat TW3 came on board.
And he doesn't ever back talk because I prompted him not to.
I don't even have to pay it. I was like, this is great. So yeah, it's been a great thing for us in that regard. It's just, know, from a macro level, from a societal level, I just hope it has that same effect for everyone. It's not replacing.
Yeah.
But it's allowed me to do a lot. Like for instance, you're familiar with our business. As far as our membership side, one of the heavy lifts for so long was getting people up to speed on technical stuff. And as well as I do, you can spend hours upon hours, and there's just some people that's just not their thing, and it's never going to be their thing. And you're going to get frustrated. They're going to get frustrated, and everybody's throwing their hands up. With what AI has allowed us to do, we've got an app now. Well, we've had that TW3 app, but it's actually on your phone. It's an app on your phone. And so for a lot of our new members, what we've been able to do in our SRT level is we just set them up on their phone. They don't even see the desktop part of it.
Mm.
They click a button and say, I'm ready for leads. AI kicks in, sends out mass text, drives calls back to them, and they take calls, read a script. When they make a sale, they make commission. So there is none of that, heavy lifting, funnel design, building a form, all of that, that we used to have to, because.
No, I mean, that's good. I mean, you're separating the duties there because it used to be, you get the system, and on top of learning how to run your own business, which is difficult, on top of dealing with rejection, on top of, learning how to be personable if you've never done sales before, that type of stuff. On top of that,
and you got to learn this technical stuff too.
Yeah, there's also a little bit of IT involved. You got to, understand how this tech works. So that's cool.
It's really helped us with the guys in this sort of, because, we've been flirting and playing around with all this gig economy type stuff with, building websites on demand, Uber Eats, DoorDash, all these guys that's already in that space of doing that. We're able to go there and say, hey, we've got an app too. While you're out driving in between orders or something, you can still be making money. Just click this button, and every time you make a sale. So it's helped out in that way too, because we're able to sort of, people that are already in that mindset of working a side hustle that is already out there doing something. This is just one more thing. You got Uber Eats, you got DoorDash, you got Grubhub, you got Sparks, you got, Postmates. Now you got TW3 app. Yeah. And there's no driving at all there.
That's really cool. And on top of, I mean, not to get too deep in the weeds, but I know like referral and commission type stuff was big. Like that seems like it would streamline really quickly into that type of work as well. So that's very cool.
Yeah. So, but that's all because AI.
Yeah.
AI is the engine in the background that's making a lot of that happen for us.
I had a conversation with a coworker today, and we were actually kind of shitting on AI a little bit because I don't know if you've noticed, their AI is very cool. I think we, delved into that enough, but it does feel a little bit like everybody has AI now, and there's a little bit of an AI copycat in a lot of businesses and stuff. And so I like hearing that, where you can see where it's applicable and it's usable. Like there's a real world application for the AI versus like in my work, my own company released their version of AI, and we've got an AI chatbot that we can use, and I just really makes me question, like, what are we doing? What?
It's almost
Why is this a thing when ChatGPT exists, Google exists? Like, I don't need another version of AI that's specifically, because all you're doing is harvesting my data personally, and I'm so not okay with that.
Yeah.
So, like,
it seems that's the way it is with every new piece of technology. You have these Me Too type folks that they really don't understand how it's even, as you said, applicable, or, you know, it can be leveraged for, you know, a profit or an efficiency. They're just doing it because they feel like, well, we got to do it too because everybody else.
We got to do it too. Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is, because they just want to be able to go on LinkedIn and be like, look at what we're doing with AI now in our business, and it's like, cool.
It's a bullet point that they can put, but it literally has no value. It has nothing to, you know. Whereas, you know, I'm taking it and I'm using it for as sort of like a solutions type provider. So, like, these folks that are these one mom pop shops that can't afford maybe a virtual assistant.
Yeah.
To answer their calls or respond back to emails and stuff, because they're literally out in the field performing the service.
Yeah.
I say, well, we'll put a virtual assistant right there on the front of your website. It'll answer your calls. It'll respond to your email. It'll respond to your text. And then it'll ask them if you want to book an appointment. It'll even book the appointments and put your calendar. So now, cool. But it's a solutions. It's not just having a technology to say, hey, I've got a technology. Hey, look at this cool little thing.
It's incorporated and it's used.
I don't even technically, when I'm presenting it, say AI. I say we have a digital virtual assistant, because everybody understands virtual assistant. It will respond to your emails. It responds to your texts. It'll call your customers back. It'll do all that stuff for you. And here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to pay it $15-20 an hour.
Right.
And it works 24/7. Now, of course, I'm cutting against people's ability to earn an income there, but, you know, it's allowing that mom and pop in a very lean time right now where new business is hard to get to be more efficient. So I'm helping them on their bottom line. So
no, that's good. I like to see that. It's very cool.
So I got this idea. I want to run it by you.
He's often imitated,
but never duplicated.
You are listening to the TerryWilson3.com podcast,
the home of TW3.
Hey, looky, let me ask you a question. Have you ever tried to cold call a list of people to generate more sales for your business? As you know, cold calling and marketing can be tough. It also can be very discouraging. And, well, some people you speak with are just not open to a conversation.
Hello, this is Welcome and Willie. What can I do for you today?
Yes. Hello, sir. How are you today? My name is Jeff, and I'm with TerryWilson3.com. Do you have just a few minutes to talk about your effectiveness as a leader?
I'm sorry, but I'm entertaining some interns right now. I really need to get back to helping them, you know what I mean?
Then there are times where you go to the next call and find they have the time, but really, they just don't have the ability to make a decision.
And hello, sir. How are you today? I'm with TerryWilson3.com, and we're offering folks today a free copy of our latest book. Do you have a few moments to discuss which book might suit you best?
First, I want to thank Thunk. Thank you for calling. I'm always ready to speak. That is why I'm committed to adding 30% more to the cost of your shoes to help with your salads.
Sir, I was talking about offering you some free books.
I agree. Let you talk to my partner here to get those blocks from you right now.
Hello, how can I help Joe?
Yes. I was just saying we are offering free books to folks in the area today, but it seems there's been some sort of mix-up.
Well, it's important to understand when mix-ups happen that we understand that what happened was in fact a mix-up. Without this understanding, it's possible that we could have a real mix-up.
Oh, man. Okay, you folks have a great day.
To avoid the crazy, let the professionals here at TerryWilson3.com do all of the calling for you. We will cold call a list of people for you at rates starting at $35. That way, when you are speaking to someone, well, you are speaking to a real potential buyer.
Yes, I was speaking to one of your reps and was told you guys did cold calling, so if I understand you correctly, you warm them up for me before I meet with them. Is that correct? I'd like that.
Now, if you know what you're worth, go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hit. Yeah. And not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that and that ain't you. You're better than that.
This is TTW3. So I keep going back and forth with this, but as you know, one of your father's biggest complaints for years has been, it's just an ongoing, I almost sound like a broken record. I can't stand this attitude that I'm going to blackmail this business or this health coach or this product developer or whatever. I'm going to blackmail them by, reputation damage if they don't do what I want them to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were talking about how the Airbnb in the VRBO industry has solved this issue. Because you got these people that will rent these properties, and the property owners are saying, hey, you can't have parties, you can't do this. You have
they
to
don't want their place trashed.
We don't want your place trashed. They go in and say, screw you, we're going to do what we're going to do.
Right.
And then if the property owner wants to come in and say, well, we're going to charge you this fine, or we're going to do this, we're going to do this, then they go on like people do. There's hair in my food, or, they run that whole gamut of making stuff up. And then they go online and try to don't rent from him, don't rent that. And they just try to trash
reputation
and get their score down so people won't rent from their property. It's just, to me, it has been since the eBay days. This goes back, this complaint, because I used to sell on eBay, and PayPal always, I always argue that there's more people scamming people that are on the buying side than there are on the selling side. Because I can't tell you how many times I've sent something and they say they didn't get it, and they did get it, I could prove it. But PayPal, and I've talked to Tim, I've talked to tons of people, and this is everybody's experience, everybody's complaint.
Yep.
Well,
real quick, sorry. It's in the seller's best interest, or the person's service provider. It's almost always in their best interest to provide the best service. I mean,
sure.
Granted, few bad apples in every scenario. I'm sure you can find an example of where that wasn't the case. But over and large, you want to provide a good service. Otherwise, you want the review. You want, why would you? Yeah,
what business can stay in business by killing their customers, by hurting them? I mean, it just don't make sense.
And they're the ones with something to lose.
Yeah. They're the ones out there with their name, their face, their potentially their house mortgage to finance this business. They got all they got all the skin in the game.
Yeah.
VRBO and Airbnb has developed this thing where when you rent a piece of property, you are automatically put on this list, and you are rated as a buyer. So that when other people that have VRBOs and Airbnb, before they take an order from someone, they can look on this list and see how you're rated as a renter and decide whether or not. So that's how they're trying to make it a little more equitable.
Sure.
Give a little bit more back. So, and I was like, I know so many health coaches, fitness coaches, people that work in mindset coaching, what we do. There's tons of people out there that, the number one complaint you get from, and I've talked to Cliff, I've talked to, my buddy Cliff, I'm not going to mention last names, but some other people that are well-known people. And it's just the ongoing thing that, you can make them sign everything, you can talk to them, you can do this, but at the end of the day, they always use this as leverage to try to manipulate and get what they want. So what if there was a site, sort of like KarenWatch.com or something, funny, a little tongue in cheek, of course, but a service provider, a coach or someone could go reference that and say, okay, this person's name, this email address, this is on this registry. I'm going to type in and see if it pops up a red flag. And you wouldn't give any personal information out. It would just be red flag, green flag. You wouldn't even get into that.
I think that's totally applicable, and that's something I'm kind of shocked has not already developed, because I know at least for renting, flip side of it, I'll play the counterpoint now, is when my apartment complex screwed us over, we moved from upstairs to downstairs, and they looked at the top floor where we had carpet. We had never walked on it with shoes, and we'd never spilled anything. It was just the carpet they gave us. We lived there for a year. They made us replace the carpet, and we were like, why? There were no stains. And they said, no, there were stains. You just didn't see it. It's like, okay. And so they replaced the carpet. They put hardwood flooring in. That's the new floor design. So they got us to pay for what their new fixes of the apartment were going to be. Whatever. But I know for a fact that, I wanted to basically say, screw you. I'm not paying for you guys to renovate the apartment, which we were going to do anyway. Like, you're just looking for a way to save a buck on me, who's still a tenant here. And that's why you have the leverage, because I'm still living here. But I know that they use a score-based system. If we go and rent anywhere else in this general area, we could be seen as a bad tenant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I do like the idea of people with a Vrbo or an Airbnb, because those are typically that's not some central bank somewhere that started a realtor company and then bought up all the property in my local area. It's like one dude that owns a house and doesn't use it some days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just seems like there ought to be a scoring system.
Yeah.
Because and it's in every industry. I was talking to Annie today, and she's a fitness coach, and her biggest frustration is she will tell people, here's your meal plan, here's your routine, and inevitably 2-3 weeks it gets hard, they don't do it as planned, and all of a sudden it's her problem.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll take it a step further, and there's a million reasons why this is a terrible idea. Nobody should develop this, but we need a social score just for human interaction. If I run into somebody that was like a dick and I'm like, I didn't like that at all, I didn't like any of the words that we exchanged, that whole interaction negative rating, I would like to go and see, oh, you have like 8 -2 stars. Like, nobody likes you. It's not me. I'm not crazy. You're just a bad
I'm not
person.
the problem. You are.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a lot of reasons why that would be terrible.
No, I get it. But it just seems like in the marketplace, specifically the marketplace, there needs to be some equity brought to bear and have some sort of scoring system, because it has been my experience as both a consumer and a provider that 9 out of 10 times it's that's why I get these looks all the time. We even had a podcast a while back, and one of our members say, what are we talking about? I had to talk to him later. He goes, oh, I get it. But I was like, the old cliche, the buyer's always right. No, they're not. They're very rarely. They don't. If they knew what you knew, they wouldn't be buying from you. They'd be doing it themselves. So how could they ever be right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, but that don't mean, I get what you're saying is you make, you do what you can to provide them the service you can, to give them all of the things you can. But the idea that they're always right is crazy. Look who just walked in. You're not going to believe who just walked in. Chief Big Wang. I'm on the Zoom call with Reagan. We're recording a podcast. Yeah. You want to be on the podcast? I'm on. What's this? Okay, we'll talk later.
That's a drug deal, everybody.
He just walked in. We'll have to edit that out.
Who?
I won't mention names right now. Off the air, we will.
Oh, okay.
Someone that's very close to the family.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah,
I know who it is.
Yeah. So, anyway. So, it just seems like they're, because like I said, if it was just me, I was like, well, I've got to redesign something here. But every person that has a network, a membership, a coaching business, it's always the same thing. And it's like, how in the world? And then you have some of these third parties that sometimes they will, grade things fairly, but more times than not, it's a play for you to have to pay them monthly to manage your score.
Well, it seems like the professional play when dealing with any type of conflict with your consumer is to just like appease them as much as you can, but don't really address it. Just let it go away. At least that's when I look at big companies that are constantly screwing up, like the way they're handling it is to kind of like not handle it, because outrage runs its course, and just hope your product is good enough for it to go away in time. But I would be curious to see something that smaller business owners can use, because I don't feel quite as bad when somebody has a shitty day and they go to Chick-fil-A and they just like unleash hell because they had a shitty day. Like, yeah, it's super annoying, and I do think they're a piece of shit for doing that. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think anything should happen to them. Whereas if you do that to a small business owner that only has a few people come into their store and buy their very specific product or whatever it is, coaching business, they don't have a big enough market to draw from where you can just let it run its course.
Oh, that's the people I'm talking about. I mean,
yeah,
when you get to the level of a Chick-fil-A or McDonald's or these guys have got money that they can throw at things and make things go away. But your average mom and pop, like my lady over here, I'm not going to mention names, in a few towns over, that owns a little gift store. She rises and falls based on her customers' experience. So I have literally seen her lose $40 on a gift to drive all the way to Greenville to make someone happy. Now, you're not going to get anybody, but why does she do that? Because her name's on it and she's trying to build a business. That's her livelihood. And it's not right for someone to be able to leverage her and manipulate her in that way when everything was their fault. And
I think that's a really big thing that a lot of my generation doesn't understand, because I see a lot of talk of like everyone that owns a business is somehow inherently evil, and obviously that's not what they're saying verbatim.
Well,
but
that's
just the
mindset. I get it.
Yeah, but the attitude that it's like, oh, running a business is easy. I was like, that's what I should do, is just run a business, and then all my workers will take care of it. Exactly. I'm like, look, I've worked in small business for a long time, and that shit's difficult. Yes. Like, it is incredibly difficult and incredibly stressful. Like, as annoying as it is to go work a 9 to 5, there's a peace of mind when you're done with your shift at 5 and be like, not my problem anymore. That just never goes away. Like, imagine going into bed and thinking you could be fired all the time. That's the equivalent of running your own business. Because
absolutely,
a market can fire you, and that doesn't even mean you did anything wrong. Like, we've tried restaurants, local restaurants that were like, oh, yeah, this place is really good, and we'd eat there pretty occasionally, but it's like,
and then
go between 4 other conglomerate stores that just run it out of town. It's like you can't compete with that.
Yeah, I wish people would get a little more sophisticated with the criticisms. I get how some large corporations operate, and I think it's awful. I just do. Someone we know, because they had to cut their hours at a huge conglomerate, had to cut their hours so that they could go to school and get this degree, was told just last week, hey, you remember that raise that it took you 3 years to get, and we just kept putting off, never giving it to you? Well, now we're taking it back, plus we're deducting another 75 cents an hour because you can't come in and open up like you once did because you're going to school. Now, I just think, I was scratching my head when she told me this, and I was like, are they trying to create enemies? I mean, I don't even see how this is in their best interest. It baffles me why, because I have learned people can hurt you in ways that you don't even know. And you're banking on that person being a person of more character, morality, that they're not going to. But if they treat everyone like that, all they're asking for is, hey, when I'm not watching, just take from me, steal from me, kill my business, do whatever you can. Because they're just creating animosity in the workplace. And I don't get that. And and it's so foreign to me, because this is not the experience I came up with working at Hames, working at all the little businesses and mom and pop. We're working for Chuck at the wood shop. Starting
local.
We were a family. We were in this together. Even though I didn't own that company, I felt like I was a stakeholder.
Yeah.
And I took pride in what we did. I took pride in the fact that we won sales awards for Yamaha and Electro Voice. And I got to fly out to Anaheim and go to, the 25 years of Michael McDonald concert that Yamaha was putting on and sit on, because I wasn't an owner, but I was a stakeholder. Yeah. I was part of, and that's been my experience, and that's the way business should run. And I don't understand why these companies these owners and managers have lost sight of that, because I would have done anything for those guys because the way they treated me.
Well, what's that saying? Too big to fail.
Yeah.
and we came to find that was not true. We still had an '08 crash and everything went to, so that's a lie. That was a lie. But I mean, I think that is part of the mindset though, is, you reach a certain point in business, certain people, there's certain companies, managers that get into certain fields and these big conglomerate companies that make a lot of money. And at the end of the day, and I really do believe this, none of them care about the business. Like none of them actually care about the business itself. Most of them care about their paycheck and what they're receiving. They care about how they appear to the people that raise their money. And that's human nature, because I wouldn't even say I'm not guilty of that. Like, if you're talking about my performance reviews, I'd go, yeah, I don't really care how the team did. I care how I did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that seems to be the effect of when you get so big that you're going to make money regardless. And the people you have interacting with, your lower employees or just your public, however it is, like, money's coming in. Why would you change anything? What encourages you to do something differently?
I just scratch my head, but at the end of the day, I mean, I understand I'm not, and you know me, and I was talking to someone else the other day about this scenario and situation.
Yeah.
I always and forever, and you know this, I'm not just saying it, my bias is going to be to take up for the business owner first.
Sure.
Because I'm like,
that's your experience.
What does Chappelle say? I'm a victim blamer. When someone says I got fired, well, what did you do?
Yeah.
I mean, that's my experience. And so, but I was telling this person, I said, I'm finding it harder and harder to even lean that way with this particular organization, because it's just like, it's not in their best interest. Why are you doing this? I mean, this person you just did this to saved you who knows how much money by just telling you, hey, such and such and so, and this situation's going on, and there's some scamming going on, and you might want to look at this, keep my name out of it, but I just can't witness it and live with myself. I mean, so many, and you're going to take that person and say, because you cut your hours for this time, this and time, and this time to better yourself for school.
Yeah.
And this person just like, what are you doing?
I also know someone that works at, I think it's the same company. And it was a similar situation, like, small changes in their schedule, but long tenure there, 5-6 years. If you know the personality type, like hardworking, always willing to serve. Like, it's not one of those people that's like just kind of half-asses it, because I would accuse myself of doing that sometimes. Like, if you piss me off enough, I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna. You're gonna see I quit pretty much mentally a long time ago. They're constantly giving, right? Shift change, whatever it is, and then just the immediate flip of like, well, you're not a person. Like, we're taking money away, and it's hard because you want to see smaller businesses grow and you want to see them do better, just so there's more funds to allocate to people that want to work different jobs than that. Because the problem is those people, they have all the funds. There's the ones that can support you, going to a local shop, even though you want to work there, they're not paying but $12 an hour. And so it's like, well, I've got 16 here and I've got 12 there, or 10 there, and 12 and 10 there is them breaking the bank. Like, there's no cast of blame on them for that, but it's a tough market. It's really, really tough, because it's not beneficial to just about anyone except for the one guy that owns the big business.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Just absolutely crazy. Well, I tell you, one of the best things I've done for myself, just maybe not financially, but just psychologically anyway, is getting involved with the local business association here, meeting all these small mom and pops, because I empathize with, and we're exploding here in this community, as you know. I mean, it's just like, it's like Grand Central Station around here. You can't throw a rock without hitting a new, business popping up, but it's all these stupid chain restaurants and chain businesses. So we're all like, making a concerted effort to, hey, make sure when you go out to eat, that's nice to go to this chain and this chain. I'm not saying not to, but go over here and make sure
support your local guys.
Support your local, because every time you spend $1 there, you're actually putting money right into Boiling Springs. When you spend money over at the big chicken place or the big arch place or whatever, it's going to Chicago, it's going down to Georgia. That money's going everywhere. I'm not saying it don't help the people here, because at least you got employees there, but more money, you're getting more bang for your buck when you buy from a local business owner and not some chain.
What I would like to see from everyone, but specifically my generation, I would say they're very good at one thing, which is taking something and taking it to the nth degree. Like finding one thing that really pissed them off
And overplay
and
it.
then just going like the whole mile with it because they really dislike that. I would like them to take that animosity and like that passion for whatever the slight was and channel that into just going
Something
"We're
proactive.
support your local businesses.
Yeah.
Go out and eat the place that go out and buy, we went and bought tools recently. We needed tools for something we were fixing. And we were going to go to Ace Hardware, which is down the street, but their hours had changed or something, or there was some reason we couldn't go there. We found a local place that sells tools. And I'm not going to lie, it was a little weird, but I was like, oh yeah, shop local. Why would I go? And it was cheaper. Like,
It's
what are we
cheaper.
doing?
You actually can talk to a human that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wanted to help me. He was asking about, what we were fixing. And granted, I'm sure the guy at Ace Hardware have done something similar. But just to know that this guy owns the business, I'm not giving it to the Home Depot's CEO. It's not going to his
or
paychecks.
Lowe's or anything else.
Yeah, it's like you go support your local businesses.
Absolutely.
Because if you could fund that mentality of, I'm not buying Starbucks because they support Israel. If you can do that, sure. But I would say, do that for most things. I'm not going to go eat at McDonald's. I'm not going to go eat at Burger King or whatever. I'm going to go buy chicken from the local place that just opened up. Like,
absolutely. There are so many, what do they call these little pop-up food trucks?
Yes. And it's so much better. Oh my God.
The food is better. The service is better.
Yeah.
I mean, everything about it is better.
Yeah.
So why would, I think it's just because they don't have the marketing dollars. They don't have the big budget. You don't see them at the halftime of whatever game you're watching. So it's out of sight, out of mind. But one of the things I'm helping my local guys do is get on these apps. So get on these platforms.
Yeah.
Because you can be right there beside, because I would buy and I would see more and more people buy local if it's make it as convenient as possible.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine they wouldn't care. There's a place called Willie Tacos, close to where we live.
Yep.
And that owner, local guy, he's from Asheville, but you know what I mean? He lives here. And
got several local restaurants here.
Local restaurants, owns multiple local restaurants. On top of the food being good, which is helpful, I would say the thing that set him apart from most of the businesses in our area, and I've thought about this before, is a lot of times when Alicia and I go do takeout, if we go, like we just want something quick, we do typically go to a chain just because it's a little bit easier. It's they have an app, I can place it to go pick it up, come back. The exception to that rule, and he probably gets more of our money in our business than the other places, is because he has an app. We can go download his app. He has a delivery service. We can have the food delivered to us. Like, he takes all the modern conveniences that these big chains are using and just applies it to his own business. And the moment he does that, his business is way more appealing than any Mexican restaurant around. We don't want to go to Taco Bell because we can go get like really good tacos from the local taco place.
Yeah, that uses real meat. I'm not saying that other people don't. I'm just saying he does. We know.
We're just saying Taco Bell probably doesn't. It's probably horse. It's real meat. It's real meat.
I am going to be editing so much.
It's real horse.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And my admonition to these local business owners is exactly what you talked about. You don't have to play second fiddle to these large chains. You can be on the same platforms they are. We can help you develop your own platform if you need one, whatever. But get out there, make it convenient. And one of the things we was able to do with one of our local truck pop-up guys is when we set up their POS system. So they've got a little iPad and people either tap to pay or whatever, but it captures name, number, and email address. And the reason they want to do that is because as a truck, wherever you're at, you send out your list that week. Hey, we're going to be at Westgate this week. From this time to this time. If you're in the mood for fill in the blank, come see us.
That's cool.
Yeah. And
That's cool.
It's just, that's easy, cheap advertising.
They made a movie on that marketing strategy too.
Did they really?
John Favreau, he opens up a food truck, and his son, who's really young, one of the reasons they start blowing up because he's like a Michelin star chef that gets like really pissed off at the business owner. Like, they're partners, but he doesn't agree with the partner. And so he opens his own food truck, which is no longer Michelin star food, but just food he finds really good. He travels around the country, and his son runs an app that tells him where they're at. starts picking up traction because the food's really good, and then all of a sudden he's kind of.
Well, you know as well as I do, people will travel for good food, what they want. I mean, I'll go across town.
I did that for years for Chipotle. No more, but I did. I would travel.
By the way, this is going to irritate you. Guess who has a Chipotle now? Not going to have, has open right now, and you can order right now. Has a Chipotle.
Your area?
In your wildest dreams, who would you think would be the last area of the world to get a Chipotle? That you know of, you're familiar with, you've lived around.
Really?
Go ahead. Well, who do you think?
North Carolina? That area in North Carolina?
Forest City. Right across from Chick-fil-A up in Forest City is a Chipotle and a Jimmy John's.
I've grown as a person. You know, at one point in time, that would have actually pissed me off.
I said, wait till I see Reagan, because I remember you
me food poisoning and tried to kill me too many times. I think it's good. Forest City deserves that. Kidding, of course.
I saw that. I was like, Reagan is going to be so agitated.
It is really dumb, though.
Forest City has it, and Bowling Springs does not.
I wrote them 3 letters to open one there.
I know you did. I remember you did this whole campaign. Please come to Bowling Springs, please.
Opened a damn Salsaritas that isn't good.
Salsaritas is good now. I personally prefer them over Chipotle. Now, I prefer Chipotle's meat, but as far as the veggies and especially the, what do you call it?
As far as like the ingredients and like what makes the food.
The cheese is better at Salsaritas. The chips are better at Salsaritas.
I'll tell you, that's a cultural divide. And everybody I talk to, you have the 2 minds. So there's 2 camps, right? You know, there's good people and bad people, Republicans and Democrats. There's people that prefer Moe's, and there's people that prefer Chipotle. And every time I find a person that prefers Moe's, they go, yeah, well, they got chips and queso. I'm like, your fat ass is only going to get a burrito so you can get chips and queso. Like, that's all we're talking about right now. It's not what we're talking about. I'm asking about the burrito. Asking you take 2 meat and cheese burritos, one from Moe's, one Chipotle. You try both. Nobody in their right mind would go, oh, yeah, the Moe's burrito is way better. I'm like, you're an idiot. There's nobody saying that. They just want the queso. And I can respect that, but tell me that. Just go, I prefer chips and queso.
Yeah. Well, you've got to admit, the queso at Chipotle is dog.
No, it's fine.
No, it is. You're the only person. Well, let me put it this way. You're the only person I've ever spoken to that prefers it over anybody else.
I don't prefer their chips and queso over Moses chips and queso, but I think their chips and queso is, yeah, probably because they use the seasoning that I like. But I would say that's not why I'm going to Chipotle, though.
Nah, that's a fair argument. Yeah, the meat and everything is a lot better.
I say it like facetiously, but also genuinely, like just the ingredients.
Yeah, the ingredients.
Lettuce, tomato.
But the service is trash.
No, that's
all
true.
Chipotles.
No, that's true.
At
I
all.
can't defend them for that.
I've gone to the east side. I've gone to the west side. The one up in Forest City, I don't know what it is in their management system, training system, but they have what we call a systemic problem.
You are correct. Yeah, you've seen the trend that's going around right now for Chipotle, right? Yeah, where you take a camera. So a trend started on TikTok where they said you'll get way more food if you like record the person making your bowl. Like they'll no longer skimp on your stuff. It's gotten to the point now where like the CEO of Chipotle has addressed it in an interview. And so what people have started doing, and I don't support this, but maybe
but I'm going to tell it. But I'm going to advertise it.
So the trick for the longest time, if you didn't know this, I'm telling you now, I'm putting you on game. That's old now, so you can't use it anymore. But you always ask for your meat, right? And you say, oh, white or brown rice, black or pinto beans, and then you get to the meat. And the meat portion, select whatever meat you want. Let them scoop it. Then you say, I want a double of whatever the meat is. Actually, I want a double chicken. At this point, they've already shown their hand. Right. I know how much you think is one serving. If I tell you double ahead of time, what you've really done is give me 1.5.
Yep.
But if I tell you after the fact, you get 2. So now they picked up on that trick, though. People started using that all the time. The guy started picking up on me. I would go to my local place and I would do that. And it would be the same guy. He'd be like, you're going to get a double. Just like you want double chicken. I'll give you extra. I'm like, okay. All right. Okay. As long as you give me the right amount. And so now what people do is they take their phone and they'll record people making the bowl. And so that's become a widespread trend across the country, is like recording the person making your Chipotle order, because now that they're on camera, they have to put the correct portions in. But some people have been very disrespectful while doing the little phone trick. And so the CEO came out, and you should see his response because it's pretty funny. If I had to imagine the person that owns Chipotle, it would be that guy. It's him.
The
being
only
like,
thing now,
come on, guys. Like,
I
we
don't
haven't-
like. The only thing is this. It's a little bit mobbish.
Oh yeah.
And
I admit it's immoral. It's probably wrong, but it's really funny. I'm not saying like it's altruistic, but
there's got to be a balance here. I guess that going back to what we was talking about.
We don't do that anymore. There's no room for nuance.
Balance. There's no nuance. There's
0 to 100 all the time.
If everybody would just do what's right, just serve your customer right. And then don't expect companies just to give you for nothing. And if they say this is what we're going to do, this is what we do, and you don't like it, then go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Don't buy it and then twist their arms to try to get them to comport to what you wanted when they said up front, this is not what we do.
Yeah, you're asking a lot.
Our society is trash.
So don't go anywhere. Terry and his team are just getting warmed up. We need to take a brief break, but we'll be back to continue the conversation. Remember, if you have any questions, you can call or text us. Our number is 864-507-9696. Again, that is 864-507-9696. Be right back.
Unlock the power within you. Discover the untapped potential waiting to be unleashed. You Are Worth More isn't just a book. It's a transformative guide to understanding your unique value in today's ever-evolving marketplace. Visit youareworthmorebook.com and claim your free copy. Within these pages, you'll unravel the secrets to identify your distinct strengths, refine your skills, and ignite the passion to pursue your true worth. Life isn't just about survival. It's about thriving. This book is your roadmap to not only surviving, but excelling in a world that demands your best. It's about recognizing your potential, developing your talents, and finding the inspiration to chase after what truly matters to you. Let You Are Worth More be your companion on this journey. It's not just a book. It's a catalyst for change. Empower yourself, elevate your skills, and embrace the opportunities that await. Visit youareworthmorebook.com today and embark on the path to realizing your full potential. Your worth is far more than you might imagine. Claim your free copy now and begin your transformation.
Inspiring, informative, and informational.
This is TTW3.
I swear, I sound like an old crotchety man nowadays.
I'm becoming you, and it's pissing me off. I hate it.
Back in my day.
You said as long as I've been a child, you got to train people how to treat you.
Yes, I'm proud of you. I'm not
going to go into the story because it's going to incriminate me, but it's a real shame that that's what it takes.
Yeah.
It shouldn't, though.
See, you didn't know me before I owned a business, but I was a nice guy back in the day. I really was.
Debatable.
No, I was a nice guy.
I think you're a nice guy now.
And then I started a company, got employees, got customers, got reality slapping me in the face.
Yeah.
And it affected me.
Have you seen, I asked you this in January, and this is the real, did you watch Succession yet?
No. I'm going to. It's on the list. I'm not avoiding it. It's just time right now.
I need you to watch it because there's so many truths that are in that show. So good. I could go on for hours about how good that show is. But one of the things that is a recurring theme is Logan, who is the owner of ATN. That's the, I guess, Fox conglomerate, whatever.
Yeah. Who is he playing? Is he playing Richard Murdoch's child? Is that what he's doing?
He's playing the guy that owns it, the dad.
Okay.
And his kids are the ones competing for, his affection and loyalty and ultimately the business.
Yeah.
But one of the things that he does for all the children, and it's kind of cool because each of the kids makes up like a personality type of him, which I would imagine is pretty close to like real life.
Yeah,
but one of the things he tells all of his kids at some point or another is like they're asking why they don't have it. The it being like the personality type or the makeup to run a big, large corporation. And the reality is Logan's from poverty and raised this $1 billion corporation from nothing but his sweat, right?
Yeah.
And they are children of a billionaire.
Yeah.
So the real answer is you would never have what it takes, even if you tried your damnedest, because you are a child of nepotism. You only have a position because of me. But he wouldn't say that. What he says is you're not a killer. You don't have it. You're not a killer. And as I've gotten older, I think back to when you always said, you got to train people how to treat you. Anytime I'm about to go into that state of mind where it's more of like me and you talking and I'm speaking freely, but I'm not doing the politeness, I almost don't like it, because it's like, why is it that some people can't pick up on the niceties, the gentle reminders? It's like, hey, I'm being polite to you right now, but you understand that this is a fad. This is faux. I'm not actually feeling this way. I need you to pick up on like my hints I'm giving you so we can move about amicably.
You don't like people forcing you to be mean or forcing.
I don't like it.
Because
it's
you
like,
don't want to be.
you...
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. And
because then I don't feel bad. I really don't. Because afterwards I'm like, I actually felt really relieving.
It's healthy, and that's what I'm saying. It's healthy to feel that way. You should feel that way, because if you don't, you're a psychopath. You should feel bad that I'm having to be this direct and this blunt and this potentially hurtful to communicate. I feel bad, but I put it, because it took me a long time to articulate it this way. But because your mother and I are polar opposites personality wise. She stays up at night, worried to death whether people like her and making sure that she didn't offend them. She's just so, whereas I'm okay if I bothered someone, but I gotten to that point. And I was able to say it this way the other day, because we were talking about this in a different context. It was more ministry. And I said, I think I've landed on it this way. I genuinely care what people think. Because if I didn't, I'm a psychopath. That means you can just go out and kill people and you don't care. I'm narcissistic. I'm just, screw everybody. Yeah. So I care about what people think. But here's the difference. I refuse to be controlled by it. And that's where the line is. I care what you think, but I will not be controlled by what you think. This is what I'm going to do. This is what you can expect from me. This is where I expect you to be. This is where this is, and what it is we're negotiating. And I'm saying in our relationship, whether it be business, whether it be whatever relationship managing, I am committed to do this, but I will not do this. And I expect those around me to behave in this way. And if you don't, that means we're going to redefine our relationship. And it's going to break my heart too, because I genuinely care for you. I genuinely care what you think. I genuinely care about this relationship, but I refuse to be controlled by it. And I think that's where it's at. And it's like a muscle, because I've gotten the reputation of being the velvet brick at church, and our new guy calls me Mr. Conflict Manager. He says, anytime there's conflict, you're always called in. And it's like, I was like, well, let me tell you, the reason why is just simply because of the overexposure I've had to it in business. Because when you are in business, when you're in a workplace, whether it be in a corporation where you're dealing with middle management, people under you, whether you're dealing in sales, inevitably you're going to run into conflicts.
Yeah.
And you got to decide, I'm either going to have my lunch eaten or I'm going to be able to stand on my own. And it goes back to, I think it's that old Chinese proverb. It's actually something Jesus said too, the meek shall inherit the earth. But there's a Chinese proverb that says the same thing. And it says this, that it is better to be a warrior in a garden than a garden in a war. Because the word meek there, and when on the passage that Jesus is talking about, the imagery there in that language is, the meek shall inherit the earth means those who have a sword and skillfully able to wield it, but keeps it sheathed, they will inherit the earth. In other words, they're not going around lopping people's heads off and just being bullies, but they are so fortified in who they are emotionally, competently in their business.
Yeah.
Very few people are going to mess with them.
Yeah.
And that's the posture you got to take in business. Listen, you see this sword? I'm here to be your friend, But let this
Right.
remind you.
Yeah. Well, it is. I don't know why. Because when I worked jobs in high school, so it's funny I said high school and had a voice crack there.
High school.
High school. No, but I thought when I was working those jobs, I would get to corporate America or my big boy or adult job. And what would happen is like, behavior would change. Like people become more mature. Not really the case. Everybody stopped at like 12. I know I did. Like I still find the same things funny. So what it really boils down to is like a real life game of chicken.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a card game. You've got some people and their card, their thing that they can do that separates them from other people is they're crazy. Like they're very comfortable with just behaving and performing badly and fighting anyone that calls on it. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be like a job, but just in friend groups and circles, nobody wants to say anything because that would be offensive or that would be confrontational. And it's just like, oh, well, they kind of just get their way because nobody actually wants to call out on it. And it's like, it's a real shame that like I've started to like look forward to that a little bit more lately. I'm using it more, but just like running into people that immediately I can tell, we're not going to get along. The way you're communicating right now, I can already tell you and I are not the type of people that are going to gel. And that's okay, but like sure. I'm going to avoid you because I don't want to have to talk to you. But then there's sometimes when you can't avoid it and it's just like, oh, well, that's cool. I get to put the dukes on. Like we get to go at it because more often than not, I find the people that behave poorly and need to be a little bit smacked don't have a lot going for them. So other than being confrontational, that's all they got. And
well, yeah, it literally is a sign of weakness.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is. You're posturing.
Yeah.
Just start off, you're being, this way.
Everybody I've ever been around, like, for instance, we got this guy at church that you don't know, but he started coming about a year ago. And he is a national champion on some of this mixed martial arts fighting. He was, he's had a couple.
I bet he's like the nicest guy in the world.
Super nice, laid back, chilled guy. You would not know that this man literally in 2 moves could kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, because he works with some military people. He works with a couple police academies. He's done security work for like these famous actors and stuff. Like I'm trying to think of the famous brother and sister combo from Utah that I can't think of them right now. But he's been around tons and tons of people.
He's okay with real conflict.
But you would, I mean, he's just super nice. He don't wear it. I mean, he's not.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's teaching a class, some defense courses for ladies, especially showing them how just to grab people and different things. I've been around people like him. I've been around uber rich people that literally are wearing dungarees and just ratty shoes and because they don't want to draw attention. They don't want to be a target. And the more and more you're around, it's like these people that are puffed up, that are acting big and bad or flashy with money. It's weakness. You know right away that's not real.
I know we're running long, so I'll keep it a little shorter here, but
it's a podcast.
I didn't know how long you want the podcast.
It's fine.
But I've gotten really good at picking up inflections of people's voices on the phone because everything I do is on the phone. Yeah. And so a lot of times when it calls in, it's only 15, 20 seconds before I get their name and stuff. I've gotten really, really good at telling what people do, like as far as position wise and like where they're at in the company, just by the way they communicate.
Yeah.
And like really, really good. I've gotten scary good, actually. I can tell if you call in and you have a bit of an attitude, but you're well spoken and you're kind of being demanding and a little bit demeaning, you probably work in HR.
Yeah.
You're an HR person. You're high enough up the corporate ladder that people respect you, but you don't own everything. And there's probably a lot of weakness and you just have the ability to fire people. That's why you act that way. If you're really short and if you're, I wouldn't say conceited, but just to the point, you just want to get it done. You're not worried about like being nice or anything like that, which I'm never offended by. I actually prefer that. I get things done faster. You're an engineer.
Yeah.
Like you're probably some guy that like your thing doesn't work.
Yeah.
And realistically, you're having to call a guy that doesn't even know as much as you. I don't, spoiler alert. And so that's that type of person. The one I've gotten really good at because it happens so few and far between, but I picked up on it every time it does, is the VP or the CEO. Because I've spoken to a couple of, I think they're $1 billion accounts. I'm not entirely sure what their capital is, but They make a lot of money. They're very high up in the company. And those guys carry themselves in a weird way that no one else does. And it's, I'm sure having that much money in the bank account does buy you a little bit of freedom, and being the top dog does afford you a little bit of flexibility to kind of act how you want. But the way they approach every situation is like, you'd almost think that like they treat you like you're the expert on everything.
Yeah.
And they're very, I won't say kind, but like there's no push on you to do your role. You know, there's just, so this is what I'm dealing with today. And I've got this weird, it's just very straightforward, but very kind of polite. And I don't know, there's an aura, I think is the new.
Well, they're not speaking from fear. You don't, you're hearing fear and insecurity and pressure.
Yeah.
Even in the engineer who's blunt to the point, he's got a deadline and he's got someone to answer to if don't to. So there is a tinge of, I need this isn't working, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I don't have time to talk because I've got a deadline to meet.
Sure. Understandable.
Yeah. Everybody there has got some insecurity or something. That CEO, VP, hey man, how you doing?
Yeah.
I know you probably answer this all day long, but this is what's going to, I mean, he's loose.
Honestly, it's weird because when I run into those people, that's the only time I get a little bit nervous. Because
you're like, sir, let me
yeah. Well, I mean but that's the one moment where it's like, oh, if I get a complaint from this guy, it's probably my job because this is the guy that pays for this entire operation to kind of be going. So it's weird when I hear those. I immediately pull up their account. I'm like, oh, I'm talking to the vice president. Okay, hold on. Let me get all my ducks in order.
Yeah, I tell you, you can learn a lot in all walks of life, course, school, and everything else. But the thing that's taught me the most about life and everything is working, just my work life. The businesses I've been in, I've learned more psychology. I've learned more about everything. Name the subject, language, math. I mean, everything I've learned, I would say 80% of it came from business or working for people or working with people or whatever the context might have been.
Right.
So, but
that's what we spend the majority of our time doing. That makes sense.
Well, that's why it's so important to find your thing and get involved with something that even if you didn't make a lot of money, you can still do it because you enjoy it. Yeah.
I'm going to start selling drugs. I think that's the answer.
It's legal in a lot of areas.
It is actually. It's becoming. We're getting there.
Yeah, it's either that or prostitution, Yeah.
I got jokes there, but we'll leave that one alone.
Yeah, we need to at least keep it rated R. I'm going to have to edit some of your language anyway.
Well, that's good for you.
Now, why did you were the one that called me. What were you wanting to talk about? Did we talk about it?
Yeah, we did. I was listening to our podcast and I was like, oh, it's been 6 months since I was on the last one. Cause normally we have a few months. Like when I looked at our podcast last year, it was like one every couple months, every 2 or 3 months.
Like
and then I noticed this year, which makes sense this year cause it's kind of been a crazy year for me, but,
let's go talk real quick. You scored your lowest round yesterday.
Oh yeah. The golf thing.
You shot an 88.
So I'll preface all of that because I know golf heads are going to know. And I feel like this is the thing that nobody is like admitting. Everybody lies about their score in golf. Nobody has ever told a true.
So is it honest? Let's go ahead and get out there. Was it an honest score or were y'all scrambling? Were you playing best ball?
It was a scramble and we were playing best ball.
Okay.
The thing that builds me up in this case scenario, I brought a buddy that I thought would be good at golf. I love him to death. He's terrible. He's the worst golfer I've ever played with my entire life. I love him to death. Terrible golfer. We did a 2v3. So we played 3 other people. And those 3 other people all are around my skill level. Like we're mid 90s somewhere, like good days, mid 90s, most days a straight day, like somewhere in the low hundreds.
Yeah.
And I guess I just showed up, but we, the big takeaway was I didn't lose a ball. All 18 holes, I only use my driver except for like the couple par 3s.
That's how I score golf. If I don't lose a ball, I've won. I mean, that's
Well, it's nice because it's like, oh, I didn't lose my Titleist. That's $5 I saved. That's pretty good. But on top of that, being able to play from the fairway, that felt really good. I played the whole game from the fairway, didn't miss one. And so, we did get the The caveat to us playing against 3 people and us only being 2 was we got an extra stroke on the green. So once we were on the green, if we missed a putt, we were able to re-putt. But scored an 88.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Well, before we get off here, I thought of you, and I wanted to play this for you. This is a song that made me think of you that I heard the other day, and it's about golf. Since you're into golf and all that, I thought you would enjoy this. Let me see if I. Now, it's not your style of music, by the way.
Sure.
But it's about golf. So see what you think here.
She was a custom fit and never would quit, but now she's gone. She went out one afternoon to provide service, and soon she was gone. Have you seen my pitching wedge, the only iron that never hedged on my approach? She was the club that never failed, the one I could rely on. But she wasn't ready for the biggest challenge, called my oldest son. I troach. Now I search the fairways high and low.
I wrote a song just for you.
I was about to say, like, you wrote this.
Have you seen my pitching wedge? She's gone.
That's pretty good. I like that.
No, I was playing with our software to see different styles of music, and that's of course, country, old steel guitar country. So I was like, I'm gonna write one about my pitching wedge being gone.
Well, hey, the next time I'm on the podcast, if we continue the current scale, my daughter will be 1 year old. So
no. Hopefully we'll have you back on when she's born and brag about her. Can't wait. Yep. So we got a few more weeks?
Something like that. About a month. Something like that.
About a month, and you're gonna be a papa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Any advice you want to share to me on the podcast that you haven't already in person, but just for the audience? What would you say is most important about being a dad?
I don't know. That's a tough one there, you know.
Well, I don't plan on taking your approach, which is just like do 5 of them and do it differently each time, see which one comes out best. We know Haven's that's the way you actually do it. But.
Well, I will tell you, girls and boys are different. And if this is going to be your oldest one, she'll probably, if I had to guess, she's going to have a little bit of tomboy in her because you're going to want to play. You know? Okay. And that's okay. And then she'll be girly because her mom's girly, you know, so she'll have that as well, you know. Biggest thing is just help mom. Be there for mom, and you'll be there, you know. That's what that first year of having a baby in the house, it's a little different, but you'll get used to it. Okay. It will. I will tell you this: it's probably the most life-changing thing you'll ever go through is when you hold that baby in your arms for the first time. It really is. It's just, I don't know. It's almost. I was telling someone yesterday. I was talking to Austin's wife, and we were talking about, you know, I was reading or listening. I wasn't reading. I was listening because I don't read. I listen. But they were talking about, I can't read. But they were saying how neurologists have said that there's actually new neurological pathways that are created in the brain of a person once they have their first child. You literally, there's a physiological change in the brain. And that's why some of them say you really can't grow up until you have your first child.
I can honestly see that. My approach to a lot of things is, I think one of the reasons that I had that thing that happened the other day was very much because kid on the way. Yep. What's important? Not this. I'm not listening to that.
It literally helps you prioritize life. What's important, what's not, and what you got. Because what'll happen is you start treating your time and your energy and everything about you as a limited supply, and you're going to guard. It's like a bank. It's like your money. I'm just not going to free willy-nilly write checks to anybody that asks for it, you know, and you get really guarded with that because you're wanting to save the best that you've got for your child. That'll come apparent. There's all kinds of things that, you know, never occurred to you that all of a sudden will occur to you when you have that baby in your arms. But you're gonna love it.
Everybody tells me that if you have a girl, it's easier than having a boy for the first 15 years.
Yes, that's true.
And then it is significantly harder than having a boy.
It is. It can be. It can be. But Gabby and Haven, to be honest with you, none of you guys gave us, some of us, we had to learn, different things, but I will say this. I was protective of all of you guys. I really was. If anybody, I would protect you guys. I felt like, but the one that, and you'll feel the same way. Someone hurts your daughter. I've never felt like I could kill someone until I felt like someone was hurting my daughter. Now if someone hurts my son, I look at him and say, "Are you all right?" You walk it off.
Right.
Because you part of it is like, you be a man, you trying to grow him up to be a guy. It's not that you love me less, but there's something about a girl. It's like, it's like I told that one guy, I was like, "Are you as committed to doing what you want to do in this situation as I am to protect her?" I don't think so. I'll go to prison over this. What will you do?
Yeah.
But that's parenthood, and you learn.
So we hope you've got a lot out of the content today. Please take a few minutes to give us a 5-star positive review at terrywilson3.com/review. This helps us promote our content and continue to reach more and more people. Again, thanks for being part of the TW3 community here at terrywilson3.com. Please like and share our content, and we will see you soon.
Welcome, fellow leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. Today, I invite you to step into a world where greatness is not just a goal, but a collective reality. Introducing the Elite Mastermind Group by TW3, a sanctuary for those seeking not just success, but exponential growth. It's more than a group. It's a synergy of minds, a convergence of aspirations, and a breeding ground for extraordinary accomplishments. You'll learn not only from experts, but from the stories of those beside you, fellow trailblazers who weathered storms and conquered obstacles, enriching your own journey. Imagine being surrounded by a league of highly motivated business owners and entrepreneurs, each driven by the same passion for success, propelling each other towards greatness. Embrace the power of networking, the art of learning, and the joy of sharing your value. It's not just about what you gain, but what you contribute. Dare to be exceptional. Dare to be part of the elite. Don't just dream of success. Surround yourself with those who are already living it. Join the Elite Mastermind Group by TW3. Elevate your success. Elevate your life.
Introducing the revolutionary reputation management system by TW3, your one-stop solution to enhance your business's online presence and reputation. Are you ready to take control of your online reputation? Look no further, because TW3 has you covered. Our powerful software is designed to acquire, capture, and publish the authentic reviews of your valued customers. Let's delve into how the TW3 reputation management system can transform your business. The key benefit of our system: we make it incredibly easy for your clients to leave positive reviews, boosting your business's online reputation. When a customer has a fantastic experience, their positive review is instantly published for the world to see, driving up your business's positive reviews. But what if a customer had a negative experience? No worries. Our system ensures that the negative review is sent directly to you, the business owner, first. This gives you the opportunity to address the issue with your customer before a negative review is published, preventing potential damage to your online reputation. By having a way to instantly publish positive reviews and capture and address negative reviews, the TW3 reputation management system helps your business not only maintain but increase its review score. And here's the kicker: consistently published reviews don't just affect your reputation, but they also have a profound impact on your SEO score. Higher SEO scores mean more visibility for your business online, and that translates to increased traffic and more potential customers. So whether you're a small local business business or a large corporation, the TW3 Reputation Management System is your secret weapon to success. Join countless businesses who are already reaping the benefits of this innovative solution. Don't wait any longer. Boost your online reputation, improve your review score, and skyrocket your business with the TW3 Reputation Management System. Contact us today and let us help you take control of your online presence and reputation. TW3, your reputation is our mission.